Hello, Grace Community Church. Pastor Steve here, continuing our journey through the Bible, cover to cover. And today is May 5, and we're looking at 1 Chronicles chapter 29 and 1 Kings chapter 1. Now, starting with Chronicles, it is David preparing for Solomon to build the temple. And he gives generously of his own substance for this purpose. And then the people follow suit by giving generously. Now, there is a study that found that generous pastors have generous churches. I have tried to apply that in my own life. If God has blessed me, should I not be blessing the church and other ministries, the poor in my life? This is an important principle, and it shows up in this chapter. The king gives, the people give. In the same way, you can impact your children. Daddy and mommy are generous. The kids learn to be generous. Great principle to learn. Then David does this praise to God, a prayer of praise. And he speaks in this praise that all of our wealth comes from God. What we see here is an example of David's heart for God. In the law, in Deuteronomy chapter 8, God said specifically, when you get into the land that I promised you, and it's going great, and you have a lovely home, do not forget the Lord who gave you the means to build this wealth. David remembers this, honors God in this song of praise, and remembers his place and our place to be generous with what God has given us. Beautiful picture, and one that should hit us in a very personal way. Now, here's the thing. When we're looking at 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, and we're looking at 1st, 2nd Samuel or 1st, 2nd Kings, there is a difference. 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings tells us the raw story. What you find in 1st, 2nd Chronicles is kind of the cleaned up story. The Bible contains it all. But now what we find in 1 Kings chapter 1 is there was actually competition for Solomon to become king. It was one of David's other sons, and his name was Adonijah. And it is a story of deceit, a story of sadness, and then people moving quickly to fix this problem. From the prophet Nathan to Bathsheba, who wants her son to become king, to others, the priest Zodok, all of them are conspiring to make sure that the one David wants, Solomon, will become king. Now, in that story, we get, you might say, the dirty underside of Solomon becoming king. But there's also a few things you should take note of. One is this. How does Solomon come to be recognized as king? David says, put him on my own mule and walk him from the Gihon spring. So this is an artist's depiction of David laying his hand on Solomon, and trumpet playing and celebration. I can't say I love the artwork because nobody looks really happy here, but it does convey the trumpets, the sound, and what is supposed to be a joyful event. But I also want to show you this. David said, start at the Gihon Spring. So this is Jerusalem at the time of David. Gihon Spring is right over here, and march him through the city and let everyone celebrate that this man, Solomon, is on King David's mule, and he's coming into the city as king. Now, this was very successful for solidifying Solomon's role as king, but there's also another piece here. As we look forward 1,000 years, Jesus comes into the city, and everyone saw him as a son of David. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, the Son of David. The reason why the people celebrate that way is because it is mirroring what David did for Solomon. And so what we see in this ride into Jerusalem is a type of that Sunday when Jesus came into Jerusalem riding on a donkey. Hey, one other interesting thing in this passage, when David was an old man, nothing could keep him warm. And as I get older, I understand that principle. Well, they found the most beautiful virgin in all of Jerusalem to keep him warm. He didn't have relations with her, but she was there to keep him warm. And the name was Abishag. I've been told that the better pronunciation is Hebrew is Abisayig. But here's the cute story. My first cat that Michelle acquired, actually from Boulder City, we called Abishag because she was a fixed cat, permanent virgin, and she kept us warm and she was beautiful. And so that was the name of my first cat. Comes from this 1 Kings chapter 1 passage. Anyway, God bless you. Have a great day.